Hello students. In the previous class we have discussed about the process of respiration in plants and animals, and today in this class we are going to discuss transportation and excretion in plants and animals. Children, we know that the absorbed food, water, carbon dioxide and oxygen is circulated to the entire part of the body by the process of transportation. Even in case of the plants also, the water from the soil and the food that is manufactured in the leaf of the plant has to be transported across the plant to the entire part of the plant body by the process of transportation. So transportation is a very important process, and we can define this process of transportation as transportation is a life process in which substance synthesized or absorbed in one part of an organism is carried out to the other part of its body. So you can define transportation as it is a life process in which substance synthesized or absorbed in one part of the organism is carried out to other part of its body. This process is transportation. Next, transportation in animals. The transportation in animals is brought about by the circulatory system. The circulatory system in human beings, it consists of blood vessels and a pumping organ which is called as heart. Now let us discuss one by one each component of the circulatory system. The first one is blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. It consists of blood cells and plasma. The blood cells are of three types: RBC, WBC and blood platelets. The RBC, it is red in color because of the presence of the red color pigment called as the hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is the carrier of the respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, and hemoglobin impart red color to the blood. Next is the WBC. The main function of the WBC that it provides the body defense by engulfing the germs and by producing the antibodies. Next is the blood platelets. Blood platelets also play a very important role, that the blood platelets help in the clotting of the blood. Sometimes what happens when we get injury, then at that time the blood vessels get ruptured and the blood start oozing out. If this flow of blood is not stopped, then what will happen? It will lead to the loss of a lot of blood will be lost from the body. So this loss is avoided by the presence of the blood platelet. They causes the blood to coagulate and they help in the clotting of the blood, and the blood vessels are plugged so that no more blood comes out of the body and the flow of the blood is stopped there. So this is a very important function of the blood platelet, that is the clotting of the blood. Then the blood, as it is also called as the fluid connective tissue, it consists of the liquid component that is called as the plasma. The plasma is a yellow color fluid containing 90% of water and 10% of the organic substances like plasma, protein, albumin, globulin and inorganic minerals are also present in the plasma. Now there is another fluid which is present in the body, and that is present in the intercellular spaces of the body, and that fluid it is called as a tissue fluid. This tissue fluid, it is the colorless fluid that escapes from the blood capillaries into the intercellular spaces. Now this tissue fluid, it contains protein, plasma and lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are a type of WBC that helps to fight against certain infections. Now this tissue fluid get drained into the lymphatic capillaries. After this tissue fluid has drained into the lymphatic capillaries, it is called as the lymph. Now from the lymphatic capillaries, it moves to the lymph vessels, and from the lymph vessels, it is drained out. This fluid is drained out into the vena cava, and from there it is moved into the body. Now there is a difference between blood and lymph. Blood is red color, whereas lymph is colorless and it lacks hemoglobin. Then blood flows in two directions, from the entire part of the body, whole part of the body to the heart, and again from heart to again it comes back from the heart to the different part of the body. But the flow of the lymph is only in one direction, that is it flows from the tissue to the heart. The next component is blood vessels. The blood vessels are arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries, they carry the oxygenated blood from the heart to the body part except the pulmonary artery, because all artery carry pure blood, but only pulmonary artery is there which carry the impure blood from the heart to the lungs. Then is the veins carry deoxygenated blood from the body part to the heart, except the pulmonary vein, because pulmonary vein is the vein that carry oxygenated blood. This is the exception. Pulmonary artery carry impure blood, whereas the pulmonary vein carry pure blood. Next, the arteries are also called as the distributing vessels because they distribute blood. They distribute oxygenated blood to the entire part of the body. They take the oxygenated blood from the heart and distribute to the whole part of the body. So they are called as the distributing vessels. Whereas veins are called as the collecting vessels. Why? Because they collect the blood. They collect the deoxygenated blood from the entire part of the body, and the tissue, and give it back to the heart. So it is called as the collecting vessel. Now arteries are thick and elastic. Why? Because artery carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the different tissues, and blood flows in the arteries with great pressure. So arteries has to be thick, it is thick wall and elastic, whereas veins are thin wall and very less elastic. Another point of difference in the artery and vein is that the arteries, no walls are present, but in case of the veins, walls are present. These walls check the backflow of the blood because blood flows in the veins with a very low pressure. So there is a chance, if the blood is flowing slowly, then there is a chance of backflow of the blood. But in the veins, that backflow of the blood is avoided due to the presence of the walls present in the veins. Then arteries are deep seated. It is present inside the muscles, right? But the veins are superficial. You can even see the veins in your hands, but the arteries are not visible superficially. Next blood vessels are capillaries. Capillaries are very thin blood vessels and they exchange the material between the blood and the cell. The arteries, after reaching the organ, they divide into fine vessels. These vessels are called as capillaries, and then capillaries join together to form the veins, and the veins brings back the deoxygenated blood from the organs or the tissue back to the heart. The next very important component of the blood circulatory system is the heart. So we will be discussing about the structure and function of human heart. The human heart is a very important organ, and the most important function of the human heart is its heartbeat. And the heartbeat continues till the organism is alive. There is a repeated contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles. The relaxation of the heart muscles is called diastole, and the contraction of the heart muscles is called as systole. There is this diastole and systole, contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles. It goes on continuously, and this also makes up the cardiac cycle. Now let us come to the structure of human heart. The human heart is a four-chambered structure. It is a muscular structure. It consists of the upper chamber, two upper chambers and two lower chambers. The upper chamber are called as the auricles and the lower chambers are called as the ventricle. The right auricle, the left auricle, then the right ventricle and the left ventricle. The walls of the ventricles is slightly thicker as compared to the walls of the auricle, because from the ventricle the blood has to pump out of the heart to the different part of the body and also to the lungs. So the walls of the ventricles are thicker as compared to the walls of the auricle. The wall of the left ventricle is slightly thicker as compared to the wall of the right ventricle. Now these four chambers are there. The right part of the heart, it carries impure blood or the deoxygenated blood, whereas the left part of the heart, it carries oxygenated blood. Now see here what happens actually. The deoxygenated blood from the entire part of the body will be carried through the veins, and that blood will drain into the vena cava, that is a superior vein, and through the vena cava the deoxygenated blood will be discharged into the right atrium. From the right atrium, this deoxygenated blood will move to the right ventricle. See here, there is a wall present here at the right atrium. This wall prevents the backflow of the blood. When the blood comes to the right atrium, the wall opens and then the blood is discharged into the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, the blood will pass on to the lungs. this deoxygenated blood will pass on to the lungs, from where it will take the oxygen, from where in the lungs already, in the alveoli part of the lung, the oxygen is present. This blood will take the oxygen from there. Now, the blood from the right ventricle will move through the pulmonary artery. It will move through the pulmonary artery. I told you that all artery carry pure blood, but only pulmonary artery is there which carry impure or the deoxygenated blood. This deoxygenated blood will move to the lungs, from where it will discharge the CO2 there, and it will take the oxygen from there and through the pulmonary veins. All veins carry impure blood, but pulmonary veins carry pure blood. Through the pulmonary veins, this blood will enter into the left atrium, the oxygenated blood, and then from the left atrium, the oxygenated blood will come into the left ventricle. Again, this valve will open,